Now, not a lot of cars get to celebrate over 60 years of birthdays. However, the owners of many of these cars do. The official car of the AARP. This one here, though, not for the old folks. This is a 2007 Chevrolet Corvette C6 Z51 with an LS2 and, of course, a 6-speed manual. Now, at the heart of this beast, we have a good old Chevrolet LS motor. Now, when Chevy introduced the C6 Corvette, we went up to an LS, from LS1 up to an LS2. We gained 0.3 liters of displacement from 5.7 to 6.0 and gained 50 horsepower and 50 pound-feet of torque to bring these numbers to 400 even in both aspects. Now, we have 0 to 60 in about 4.1 seconds on this car and a top speed of 186. And this is a base car. Now, because the Corvettes are very lightweight, it's all fiberglass body. You have a big motor like this, it doesn't need to work so hard to get this thing moving, so you get really good efficiency as well. 20 mpg in the city and almost 30 on the highway. But this isn't a Prius. We got a big old Chevrolet V8. Let's go do some burnouts. Now, as soon as we get to the interior of this car, this is where the downfalls are. I've always said the C6 is kind of a butt car, so yeah, it's really fast, but the interior is kind of crappy. Yeah, it's very affordable, but the seats suck. And there's some downfalls here without a doubt, but I think it's not all as bad as some people say. So without ado, let's get started. Now, a lot of critics will tell you, especially when the car first came out, the seats suck. There's no lumbar support, they just move freely like this, and they really shouldn't. And that's kind of true, but it also depends on what you're doing. So I at the beginning of the video made a joke about the AARP people. And a lot of older guys who drive this car, they don't want to race, hugging competition seat. They want something that's nice and comfortable. And these seats are very comfortable. They're even heated now. On a day today when it's 98 degrees in Southwest Florida, I don't really need heated seats, but it's still kind of a cool thing to have. Now, another thing which isn't great is this navigation system. It's kind of crappy. The resolution is really terrible. On the other hand, all iPhones and Androids now have better navigation than most cars do anyway, so this isn't the biggest issue in the world. Now, yeah, there's some cheap plastics here and there. Over the years, I will say Chevrolet did better. They upgraded little bits. This already is a 3LT car, so this is fully loaded, navigation. It even has some really cool things here. One thing I love is, without a doubt, is this gauge cluster. I think it's one of the best looking instrument clusters of any production car. You have 6 beautiful analog gauges. I'm not a big digital gauge fan. I like an analog gauge, and these look great. And even if you don't like the gauges too much, you have a heads-up display. Like I said, this is a 3LT car. A few extra options. That's one of our options. Now, there's different modes you can select. This is a track mode right now, so I get a tack, I get a speedo, it's my oil pressure, and even a G meter. Now, with these seats, you can't rock the most amount of G's, but it is pretty cool. Then we also have a Bose sound system. It's a pretty good sound system. It needs to be overcome. 4 pipes in the back. Now, despite being a 2-seater rear-wheel drive sports car, this car is actually quite practical, and it's even a hatchback. So because we don't have a mid engine, we have front end, we have this huge trunk space in here. Now, the car can actually fit 4 sets of golf clubs, even though you only have 2 seats. Now, I don't golf because I'm not 70, but you can hop in here, you basically have a sleepover. You have a ton of space. That's one thing I love about this car is you have so much room back here. My buddy and I did a motor shop on his bike and had a Gixxer 750 motor inside here. It also had the gas tank and a bike stand. It all fit without a problem. Another cool thing about this is all the C6s, other than the Z06, the Z01, and the convertibles, all the coupes have a removable roof. It pops right in here. There's slots that clicks right in, so you can take the roof off if you wanted to, which is really a nice thing. This one's even clear, so that's kind of neat as well. But you basically get a coupe and convertible built in one, which is a sweet thing. And, the wife doesn't want you to buy the car. You tell, look, honey, it's a very practical car. Now, behind the wheel of the C6, what can I tell you? Well, for starters, torque. There's a lot of it. There's really no need to rev so high. I usually don't go above 3,000 RPM because there's so much power down low. There's really no need to, which makes this thing so great to drive. That being said, if you want to, the car is no problem revving out. This thing is like a freight train. It just pulls and pulls. It's 400 horsepower for you. That being said, everything drives really nicely. The gearbox is great. It's a good old 6-speed. It's a Tremec 56, and I love it. It's a really great shifter after you do one thing to it, and that's take away cogs. That's their first to fourth skip shift they do. If you don't know how it works, basically, when you're in first and you take off slowly, it'll automatically put a little buffer in there and force you to go into 4th gear instead of 2nd. This way, they can basically help with the MPGs and takes away from the gas guzzler tax, which is kind of nice. No one likes to pay extra money. That being said, it's really intrusive, and the main thing that I hate about it, I think that's the thing that most do, is that it forces you to go into 4th gear. I think most would have a problem going into it. It's not a big issue. Like I said, the car has so much torque it can do it without a problem, but being forced to do in the second, the forced going into fourth, that's what I think that people have a problem with, and that's the thing I don't like about it. I don't like being forced to do that. Other than that, the car works really great. The ride is a little stiff, of course, but then again, it's a sports car. I think if, people complain, oh, the sports car is a really stiff ride. Well, of course, it's a sports car. It handles really well. You love the way it handles. Well, guess what? There's a bit of a payoff there. Now, to kind of balance that, you can get magnetic ride. That's the one option this car doesn't have, and I haven't driven a car with magnetic ride yet, so I can't tell you what it is like. I will say other reviewers who have had it, they love it for the most part. They say it works very well. There's a tour mode and a sport mode to go into, and it's a great system that GM did. They actually patented it as well because it works so well. I wish this car did have it. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but it works very, very nicely. And that really helps with the ride, making it a lot more smoother. It can absorb all the bumps. Right now, it's a little stiff. It's also on run-flat tires. Corvette get run-flat tires from the factory because there's no room for a flat. I mean, I guess you could fit it back there, but they don't have. So the ride is a little stiff, and this certainly doesn't help. But without being... This thing is quick. Woo! Like I said, you don't have to rev it out, but you certainly can, and you get to 45 without a problem. Or double that. Either way, this car drives really, really well. I love the way this thing is on the road. And that being said, you also get a lot of looks. This car does certainly get a lot of looks, even despite being 9 years old at this point. Now, the fun part of every Corvette, we often joke about a lot of old people buying cars like this, and there's kind of a reason for that. They're kind of expensive. When you're old or retired, you can afford something like this. Now, when the C6 came out, they were around 50 grand base. This car, like I said before, is the 3LT, so it's fully optioned. It's also a Z51 car, which is their performance sport pack. You get drilled brakes, also bigger brakes. You have an oil cooler. You have shorter gearing, so a few nice upgrades there. Also has a clear roof, two-tone leather, so this thing is really upgraded, and it's about 60 grand when it came out. Now, that may seem like a lot of money for a car, which the interiors of an HHR or Cobalt or every other generic Chevy out there. Then again, look at the performance figures. This car puts down serious numbers, and it's a great value. Now that the C7 has come out, this is one generation old, so these prices have also dipped. You can find them in the 20s, some even in the teens. This particular car is available for sale for only 16 grand, when I think is just fantastic value. You get so much car for the money. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit that like, and if for more videos of me, please push subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon.